Hey Super Gamers, it's Super Effective here. Update 18 for Warframe blew our collective minds with the release of the cinematic's second Dream Quest. This introduced some new activities and game mechanics that could use some explanation. This guide will explore the finer details about the new focus system which is related to the second Dream Quest. So if you haven't played it yourself, consider this your official spoiler warning. The new focus system is very much in beta, so just keep in mind that by the time you see this video, values and mechanics might have changed. But hopefully the general information and tips provided can still be of service. At the end of the second Dream Quest, you will be presented with a choice of 5 different schools, each with their own skill trees complete with abilities and passes you can unlock as you level them up. Your choice of school is not a permanent choice, meaning you can eventually level up all 5 of these schools. Just think of it as being similar to when you were choosing your very first Warframe. Since the descriptions of these 5 schools are pretty vague, here is a brief but practical list of what each of the schools provide. Magi specializes in dealing large amounts of damage to enemies through fire and explosive damage, similar to the one in the second Dream Quest. Vazarin specializes in restoring health and shields, provides some damage redirection bonuses, and can also instantly revive incapacitated allies. Neramine specializes in confusing enemies while providing nice stealth and melee bonuses. Unaru specializes in petrifying and damaging enemies while also providing nice armor bonuses. And finally, Zenurik specializes in crowd control while also providing nice energy restore and efficiency bonuses. All schools will provide you with a special power that takes a few minutes at base to charge up and is activated by pressing the number 5 key on your keyboard for PC. These powers may seem weak at first, which is why you need to level them up to suit your needs. To level them up, you first need to collect focus points. To collect focus points, you must first equip a lens on a max level Warframe, weapon, Arcwing or Arcwing weapon, which can be done in that equipment's upgrade screen in the actions menu. Equipping a lens is permanent and cannot be removed, but can be replaced when equipping another. When you make a kill with a max rank item equipped with a lens, a percent of the affinity you gain from the kill will be converted into focus points for the school that lens is a part of. Be aware of the following: a Warframe equipped with a standard lens will convert 5% affinity into focus points when kills are made using that Warframe's abilities. However, a weapon equipped with a standard lens will have that 5% worth of focus points split between that weapon and your Warframe. With this in mind, it is beneficial to have a lens on both your favorite weapon and Warframe so that you don't miss out on the split focus points that would otherwise be unclaimed by your Warframe. At the time of this video, there is a limit of 75,000 total focus points that can be acquired daily across all your schools. Focus points can only be spent within the school that they are collected for by visiting the operator at the back of your ship and clicking one of the 5 schools that you have access to. You can click and drag in an empty spot to fully explore your skill tree. Focus points are used to unlock new skills which are activated by spending a point from your pool. These pool points are limited at first and can be expanded by spending focus points. Just be aware that every skill you activate will lengthen the cooldown of your main ability. Focus points can also be used to rank up a skill by clicking and holding the red button to contribute to it until it reaches the threshold. Also be aware that ranking up a skill will also increase the amount of pool points needed to activate it, similar to ranking up mods. And finally, you can purchase access to new schools once you've collected the minimum amount of focus points for that school, after which you can set it as your primary to activate its benefits. Collecting your daily cap worth of focus points seems like it will take forever, especially when you only gain 5% per kill. However, I've crunched some numbers, did some tests, and came up with some tips to help you maximize your focus point income and hit your daily cap as quick as possible. Acquiring an affinity booster will naturally double your focus gain, thus cutting the farm time in half. Greater lenses convert 7% affinity gain into focus points, which is 40% more effective than standard lenses. Kills made with a melee weapon grant twice the base affinity for stealth kills compared to primary or secondary weapons, making these the ideal for equipping a lens onto. Each unalerted enemy you kill will grant a stealth kill affinity bonus which stacks up to 5 times, greatly multiplying the amount of affinity you can get. As mentioned before, equipping 2 different lenses on both a weapon and a Warframe will allow that weapon to effectively level 2 different schools at the same time. Alternatively, if both lenses are from the same school, you can focus your efforts to leveling one school twice as fast. I have two viable solo farming methods, one with Loki and the other with Ivara. These methods will allow you to fill your daily cap in around 20 to 40 minutes depending on how many multipliers you take advantage of. For the Loki build, I maximize for duration, efficiency, and movement speed to get around easily with invisibility. Then I choose a melee weapon modded for damage, crit, attack speed, and a decent reach. Similarly for the Ivara build, I maximize for efficiency, range, and duration to make the most out of her sleep arrows and prowl efficiency. For Ivara, I recommend a Redeemer modded for pure charge attack damage so I can punch through multiple enemies at range and avoid entering a finisher animation. I chose this weapon to make use of Ivara's sleep arrow to compensate for her lack of invisible mobility compared to Loki. Also, a carrier without a weapon equipped is helpful, with an animal instinct mod to aid you with tracking enemies and pulling in loot. My recommended farm location is Ponaturi on Sedna, a deception mission which has a guaranteed room that has a lot of level 20 to 22 enemy spawn locations. Once you load in, pick up the data mass, travel to the objective marker, and insert or leave the data mass there. From here, you can find enemies in the nearby corridors and cargo bay that have enemies spawning frequently. As of update 18.1.3, if you kill an enemy within 1 meter in any direction of another enemy, the second enemy will become alerted. However, if they are both killed at the same time, you won't alert them. Killing an alerted enemy will break your stealth multiplier, so if you accidentally alert one, but they have not seen you yet, you can maintain the stealth multiplier by ignoring the alerted enemy and return later. As a Loki, pay close attention to the remaining duration of your invisibility skill. Make use of the extended range of your melee weapon by quick meleeing from behind. If you run into groups, pick off enemies who are more than 2 meters away from another. However, be careful around tight groups. Only attack them if you think you can kill all of them with a single hit. Ivara's prowl makes her slower than Loki's invisibility, but she makes up for it with the use of her long-range sleep arrows. Once you get good at using her, you may not even need to use prowl any longer. Ivara can also handle groups of enemies a lot easier than Loki. If you encounter a group of enemies that was naturally formed, use sleep arrows to put the whole pack to sleep, then line yourself up to kill multiple enemies at once. However, do not use the noise arrow to force the grouping of enemies, because that actually makes them alerted in the first place. Not only does it take a long time for them to group up, putting them to sleep does not remove the alerted state for some reason, therefore killing them all instantly will not yield a reliable stealth multiplier. And finally, I can't recommend using these pure stealth methods on sortie missions, because even though they contain juicy high-level enemies, they start pre-alerted and often have some kind of gimmick that makes them much harder to kill. If you would prefer to farm as a group, stealth kills are almost impossible since enemies are easily alerted, and therefore you will have to make up the difference with sheer number of enemy kills. Start by equipping a lens on a Warframe whose abilities can kill large amounts of enemies in a large area. For simplicity, I will refer to these as the AoE Warframe. This method can be used on maps like Ceres Draco, but it's particularly effective on sortie defense or intercept missions which contain large numbers of high-level enemies which tend to take a long time to complete. An ideal team would consist of 2 AoE Warframes and 2 other Warframes to provide support in the form of protection, energy, or damage buffs. This would result in the 2 AoE Warframe players racking up the majority of the kills between the 2 of them. Now, while all 4 players could play an AoE Warframe, just keep in mind that you will be competing against your teammates for killing blows in order to maximize focus point income, thereby splitting your share. Also, this method is particularly unfair to the non-AoE Warframe players, so unless there is an obligation to give them a turn, it could take additional time to max out the daily focus points for all players. Thanks for joining me on this video. Hopefully you are now armed with the information you need to make the most of this new mechanic. Stay tuned to my channel and I'll continue to do my best to keep you informed on future Warframe videos. Happy holidays and see you in the new year.
Holy f***. impressive, Tenno. You held them all back. Time to get...
Special thanks goes out to Andrew for being my very first Patreon pledger.